Scorpio, welcome back to Medicine Tarot. How are you guys? We're gonna do your August reading. So when we did the yearly forecast, this is a very auspicious year for you to reach out to people and to speak a lot. Communication was very focused for you, astrologically speaking, and it was very much a power year in terms of communication. And I just wanted to highlight that again in case you're not feeling that, and in case you are looking for work, in case you're trying to start a business or thinking about starting a business in the line of communication. It is auspicious, and potentially someone needed to hear that as a confirmation. All right, let's get going. If you guys don't know me, welcome. My name is, I don't say my name on here because there's so many creeps. JK. My name is Nothing. I'm a transformational coach, which means I facilitate healing paths for people. Woo! Look at this. Fortune. Yes. Money. So if you're thinking about starting that new job, you're on your way there. You're grinding your side hustle. Good energy coming to you in that way. Perfect. So this is something that I've been seeing for Scorpio a lot recently, and it's about boundaries. For whatever reason, this entire year, the idea of boundaries have come up for you guys, and there's something that you are not seeing or realizing in this area of boundaries that you are now starting to, I almost want to say ferment. And so maybe it is boundaries in speech, right? Maybe you have this tendency to say more than you need to reach, right? In places that you don't need to reach in because it's actually going to work against you. And the reason I say that is because of the auspicious communication. So within that, it's like how we're learning how to be extremely effective in communication, sometimes by holding back too. Sometimes by when someone says something out of line, they step over your boundary, you actually don't engage. A cyclical nature, a repeat kind of feeling here in your personal life. This is in your heart space. I can feel that. It's kind of like the way it comes across in thought is you find yourself saying, why does this keep happening to me? Or why is this feeling of dullness, this dull pain in my heart over failed relationships or friendships gone awry? Like, why does this keep happening to me, right? That's how that moon energy, right? It's moon, but it's also cyclical. So very, very, again, auspicious is the word, auspicious call here to look at how you are, where you are speaking too much, allowing yourself to engage in conversations that are, beneath you, raising our standards of communication, and understanding that we're doing it to serve ourselves, right? Really, really powerful. Because if we don't take this in the sense of work and actual money, you guys, they're saying once you figure this out, you will be way more fortunate. Once you figure out, and do we all understand what this figuring out is? Right? Because let me tell you, in the work that I do, you guys, which is, it's therapy, but it's of a holistic nature, there's so many times where I feel like personally, when we look at ourselves and our lives, when we get triggered, we don't see things, right? It's just hard because our emotions are everywhere. But it's so prominent how many people in general that I work with don't understand, like, there is a boundary to how much you engage in something. And when we love someone, when we really try to make something work, we reach over those boundaries that are there to keep us safe, just to like work it out or fix it. When the truth of the matter is that if you disengage, you will actually be more fortunate. You will keep your worth. You will keep your status of your higher path status. I'm just gonna say that. Okay? And we all have made that mistake. It's okay to make the mistake, but this is coming up, okay? Okay, let's keep going. I don't need to shuffle. I already shuffled these guys. Yeah, the Page of Swords in reverse is peeking at me. That's about not speaking. Oh my God. All right. Yeah, I like this. The Fool, a card of the beginning, of a grand beginning, falls on top of the moon energy, which is talking about a new cycle, a new beginning in the area of learning boundaries. You've come to a decision here, and it could possibly have to do with right. Look at this. You're recognizing your fortune in creating boundaries. There's two cards of victory, two cards affirming how beneficial these boundaries are going to be for you. And so whether this is a romantic relationship, work situation, or whatever, there's something here about really stepping back, really going back to idealism. In an ideal world, where is the place where people don't step over your boundaries? Like, what is that place, right? And when you have that, like, clear in your mind, everything that's outside of that, I feel like you can let go of. Because if it's outside of that space of honor for you or whatever, it doesn't have to do with you anymore, right? Like, you know your worth. This is my area of worth, my area of how I choose to live, my area of whatever. Everything that's outside of that is me dealing with things that aren't really, they're just going to become toxic, right? It's just going to drain me, because these negative emotions, right? This feeling like I'm not affirmed in who I am is happening because you're putting yourself at risk. You're exposing yourself outside of your boundaries, and of course you're having a hard time making decisions because you're not standing in a place where you feel comfortable, right? You're not like over here aligned with yourself and like doing your life and like bouncing through your day in a positive way, right? It's right. So this is the grand illusion that you have been dealing with, Scorpio. If you need any help with this, I'm here. But this is the grand illusion of your emotional body, because you have kept, right? Because this is ending. You have kept misunderstanding what your job is. What you don't need to defend that place, right? I just want to keep saying it over and over again. Okay. Right. And there's so many things that go into it. When we look at it from a psychoanalytical standpoint, we're fighters, right? We're like, I'm going to fight for my rights. But the truth is, you don't need to fight for your rights. Your rights are yours. It's a birthright. You have a birthright to create who you are and what you want. And everything that is sort of challenging that, not in like a healthy way, but it's challenging it by saying, well, this is fucked up and da-da-da-da-da, like, throwing mud at you almost. That's outside of your boundary, your secret garden of happiness. This is the hedge, right? It's your secret. It's outside of the secret garden of happiness, and inside the secret garden is your creativity. That's where your new beginning is, your fortune, your connection, all of the beautiful things that you're going to need, but you got confused. There was a little self-delusion here around, oh, I must fight because you get triggered by fear, like this person's going to leave me, this thing's going to happen, I'm going to da-da-da. So you step out of that to the secret garden, you step out of it to, mow somebody else's lawn, to tend to somebody else's problems. They're not your problems. So I see you here in August. And again, the way I read, I really try to hit a point home so that at least the time you get with me, we can get, if you're listening, right, your brain can absorb it in a deeper way so that your perspective changes when you come into those situations again. So, but I know some people are like, tell me what month August is going to be. This is a theme. And once this happens, fortune happens, right? Once we kind of, I just feel like gear ourselves up for this new beginning of this new boundary, of this new whatever, new self-honor, self-respect, we don't need to protect ourselves. We just don't. We literally don't need to protect ourselves, and we don't feel like, I feel like you're comparing yourself to others, right? Because somebody else's relationship may be going great, somebody else's work is going great, but they're like, no. They're like, no. All of that is the illusion, because your boundaries, you may even have a weird definition of boundaries. So maybe we need to rework the definition of what a boundary is to you, right? Because it may feel like, oh, it's this hard wall where nothing can get through, but I do want love to get through, so I'm just going to go ahead and put my boundaries down. That's not the purpose of it. It's this magical hedge. And only people with the same magic can enter. And the other ones, they should be repelled. You see? Okay? Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on. Yes, right. Because here you are, you're coming out of this feeling of not, it's funny. It sounds like I'm coming out of this feeling of not getting my way, but the truth is, in some places you can't get your way because that is not your way. And therefore you go and get on your way. Do you know what I mean? And so this understanding of your passions, it just like really catapults you into a set of clarity here mentally about what it is you need to do. You may have been struggling with like, should I get back with this person? Should I, I'm so wrong because I'm experiencing this pain. I'm fucking up because I'm experiencing this pain. But the truth of the matter is that it's all about the choices here. The choices. And I know choices are hard, guys, especially in relationships. But they're only hard because we are not clear on our boundaries. And again, I completely understand how confusing that can be, but it's all about fortune here. We need to stabilize ourselves. You can even just sit down with yourself and say, in an ideal world, which we know life is not ideal, but what are those boundaries? Just to kind of take that pressure off of yourself and to infuse more positive associations with your boundaries. Positive energy into like how yummy and delicious like relationships that honor boundaries are. That's the space you're getting into. And again, this is all areas of your life. Yeah, you may still be holding on to something terrible that happened. You may have lost a job, lost a partner, lost. But the truth is, it wasn't what you wanted. So this very interesting thing happens to us when we go through a loss, and I mean a breakup. Let's just say a breakup of a friend or a job or a lover, where there's two things happening. One side is fighting for it. The other one is fighting against that person. And it is because of this unclarity within our boundaries. And so there's a huge part of you that's like, I don't want this. There's another part of you that's like, oh my God, please don't leave me. And that's where you were. That's where you were. You're not there anymore. We're starting a new cycle. There's a new, fresh beginning. But in order to mourn that faster and to come out on top, and please let me know if you need help with this, but to come out on top, we're going to need to clarify the boundaries, clarify the fact that what you are not satisfied with. If you're not satisfied with this, and this, well, then why would you be mourning that relationship? Like, right? It's like, that's where we need to step into our mind and our body as a parent and go, okay, darling, I know you want all this stuff, but this stuff isn't all that you truly desire. It's this weird tug, and you're still in that tug. I'm just trying to help you out of it, okay? All right? I want to go further into the energies of August, because this is more about resolving, moving on, moving forward in a real way. Resolving any pull we have to belittle ourselves after difficulty has occurred. I think that's the hardest part for everyone, because secretly we all look for ourselves, in ourselves, the culprit of the crime. We're like, what did you do wrong, self? And the truth is that here it was not what you did wrong, it's what you allowed to continue that was wrong. I feel like played along with. Okay. Yes. Okay. So let's slow down for a minute. It's so beautiful, Scorpio, this energy in August, because there's this hardcore perspective shift that happens for you. The universe brings in this sense of alignment again, where you are aligned with your confidence, very much so. But it comes from looking at the bigger picture. It comes from a sense of zooming out onto your life, right? Looking at, oh my gosh, well, 2 years ago I was doing this, and look at me now, and like 1 year ago I was over here, and 12 years ago, gosh, right? So it's this kind of feeling, this relationship with your life that is changing, and you're not giving yourself enough credit in terms of how spiritually connected you are to your path. A lot of us are like, I'm off my path, I don't know my path, while they're like fully in it, and they're fully engaging with listening to their intuition even. So this Ace of Swords here that comes in, it's an alignment. It's that feeling like when you wake up in the morning, you're like, ooh, okay, let's do this, right? Like it's a truth, a cutting off dead weight. Very, very positive. Mentally, you're getting definitely spawed out and recharged and refocused here in August. Yay. Really like seeing this for you. Okay, they're saying time is coming for you to release a person, potentially, or release... Oh, yeah. Okay. You're Yeah, it's time's coming for you to just, this is done, you know, it's done. Um, but it's done in a happy way. Like, you're gonna feel relieved rather than sick and mourning. Um, when people are in the Ace of Swords energy, they're not mourning, okay? So if you are in that place right now, please know that within this next week or two, you're coming out of that. And so you may have been dealing with a water sign, but regardless, I think there was silence here too with you and this person, a lot of not speaking about specific things, not there was a wall. Okay, and listen, I don't need to go in. Whoa, hi, okay. Okay, let me just read this. You were confused about whether you were going to reconcile, okay? And this might be coming up for you, like, oh my God, should I get back with this person? You were back and forth. You didn't want to continue to offer this idea to yourself, like, oh, I have to settle for less, like, I can't get what I want, etc. It was just a whole bag of goodies. But at the end of the day, this commitment, what it was asking for you to do is to Emperor fell on the ground and the Queen of Wands. What it's asking you to do is pull yourself back into the driver's seat of your life, and you are totally doing that here. You're coming into your Queen of Wands energy. And for some reason, Scorpio, to me, it feels like a fire sign. It doesn't feel like a water sign. So, out of this confusion, right? It's funny because I feel like you're waiting for the other person to clear up the confusion, but then you're like, never mind, I'm gonna clear it up. And you did, and you weren't afraid to set those standards that you have in front of you instead of next to you, and you're like, okay, this is it, right? And I feel like once you realize what somebody else's once you truly look at what somebody else's response is to you, you don't feel so sad. Does that make sense? It's like you're like, oh, okay, that's where you're coming from. Okay. And at one point, we just have to go, there's nothing for me to work on here, or I can work on something here. And that step, you can't step over that step. You just can't. Yeah. A man holding a heart, broken heart, visions. All right. Look, I know there was fighting and all of that, but here's you coming up as as an earth sign, as someone who's abundant, with the card of abundance next to you. There's so much abundance around you, Scorpio. I want you to spend 2 days honoring all of the amazing things that are here for you and all of the amazingness that you are, because I just feel like we need to even if you're going to have new conversations with this person, and I look, sorry, I get riled up. There's parts of this relationship that you just went through, and it could be work, fine, that it just never reached, it never cut, it didn't make the cut. What didn't make the cut? It's like the things that the other person expected, what they were willing to offer, what they were actually offering, their own illusions about blah, 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 blah. It just, at the end of the day, it just chalks up to not making the cut for you when you really, truly come from a place of love and abundance. Because I don't think you're like a hardcore person who's not gracious, who's not compassionate, who's not loving and open. I think you are. But that graciousness, lovingness, openness you didn't know what the boundaries of that were. And so you came into a space where you were acting in dishonor to you instead of retreating, so to speak. And so I mean, like, you're walking away. You're walking away because of a renewed sense of perspective that is liberating you into a new era, into a new life, into a new level of understanding, of healing, a new level of ascension, even with yourself, like spiritually. And this lesson, my darling, honestly, I'm sensing for some of you, like, this is probably your main lesson this lifetime. In my opinion, I think all of us have three, right? Three big ones our entire life. And then there's one that's the main one, and it kind of seeps into every corner of our lives, into work, into love, into friendships, into family, into everything. And I think this is your biggest one for many, 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 many of you. It's about what is unspoken in this relationship. That a lot boundaries. I mean, hello. Let me see this. Hold on. Okay. And if you are sad, honey, if you're mourning and you're sad, I'm so sorry. I really am, because there's this, it's tough, right? It's tough, but also, come on. Let's shake ourselves up a bit, and we don't need to do that instantaneously, but get on that path, and you are here in August, because if we don't have this sense of boundaries, and maybe the other person didn't either, there's so much resentment that's going to build up. And there's so much unspoken need that will fly under the radar and then later surface into stress. And I just really feel like sometimes too with relationships, it's math. Door to personal healing and happiness here on the ground, and attachment. Yeah. We get attached to people, we get attached to result, and then we get into this martyr mode, and we're like, oh, I don't have boundaries, and da-da-da-da-da. So really, all we need to do at this point in time is sit down with ourselves and play the tape back, and make notes, like, this is a boundary I should have drawn, and this is how I would have drawn it, right? And really, really love ourselves in that process and say, oh my God, I lost self-appreciation because somebody wasn't honoring my boundaries, or they didn't know how, or I wasn't, and that's the only reason I lost self-appreciation. That's the only reason why this didn't work out, so that we can actually come to a place of peace again. It's important here to get back to rest and rejuvenation. Okay, Scorpio? You have so much ahead of you, and I'm going to tell you, it's hard for me to do monthly readings because I see one energy and I'm like, okay, let's work through this. Because once we work through this, the other stuff aligns, And that's where you're at, and it's a wonderful place to be in. I feel too that you can really okay, nice, simplify your life. And they're saying, yes, your intuition is correct, act accordingly. So whatever you just thought about, like, within the last 20-30 seconds, you should do that. Okay, this entire reading is about you restoring your self-worth after you learned a hard lesson about boundaries, and you, I know it sounds so cliche, but words are so easy to throw out. When you're actually living through the experience, it's a completely different thing. And I just want to say that once you master this, Scorpio, you open yourself up to your soulmate. Like that, definitely, 100%, 100%. You are protected, my dear, and I just want you to, right, there's a little self-forgiveness here that needs to happen. It's okay, right? It's totally okay. It really is totally okay, you know, for us to go through some loss or another. I mean, most of life is gaining and losing. So we have, it's a balance. It's a balancing act. But, okay, let's just stop right there. I could say so much more. I hope this served you, my darling. I just want to see what's coming up. What's coming up for love in August here for Scorpio? Okay, I love my guides that help me do this. They're like, well, if they drop these injustices, right, that are living inside of them, these injustices of how they may be treating themselves in terms of boundaries, then they can have this love. They can have their soul. Like, this needs to happen. You better believe that everything that just happened for a reason. And I know we all hear that. It's so annoying to me too, but it is the damn truth. It is your truth. And once we get out of that space of like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? What's blah, 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 blah. When we get out of that space and we drop what these, I'm going to call them injustices, right? It's all about boundaries and stuff. That's where we get the Two of Cups. This is the only card that wasn't in reverse. So this process may take you a tiny bit, but that's okay. And absolutely, if you need help with that, you should reach out to somebody, you know? Because this is worth it. This is fun. This is exciting. Being in this relationship is exciting. You deserve it. You're moving towards it. But the universe doesn't deliver, unfortunately. The universe doesn't deliver unless we are in alignment. And we cannot align ourselves with our soulmate if we are acting in dishonor of ourselves. Right? And I know you don't do that on purpose. It just happens. It happens, but okay. Okay. Thank you so much, you beautiful ones. I hope you see me on Patreon. The readings there are very different. It's a different vibe. Thank you for liking, subscribing, doing all that magic. You are beautiful. Bye.